The hustle and bustle of the suburban mall on a Saturday afternoon was nothing out of the ordinary. Families strolled through the brightly lit corridors. Teenagers lingered outside tech stores, and the aroma of fresh pretzels wafted through the air. Amid this chaos, a man stepped into the atrium wearing jeans, a casual jacket, and a bright red hat embroidered with four white letters, MAGA. At first glance, no one paid much attention. It wasn't unusual for people to make political statements, even in a place as mundane as a shopping mall. But as the man walked further, his presence began to ripple through the crowd. Whispers grew louder, heads turned, and someone pulled out their phone to snap a picture. It wasn't just the hat. It was him. The man wearing it wasn't just any passerby. It was Elon Musk, the billionaire tech mogul, the man responsible for electric cars, rockets, and dreams of colonizing Mars, had chosen this small town mall for what seemed to be a casual outing. But not everyone was thrilled by his appearance. The mall manager, a sharp-suited man named Derek, prided himself on maintaining harmony in his domain. His job wasn't just to oversee operations, but to ensure the mall was a welcoming space for everyone. When word reached him about a high-profile visitor creating a stir, Derek felt the familiar pang of duty. However, as he approached, his focus wasn't on Elon's identity. It was on that red hat. Derek's gaze hardened. "Excuse me, sir," he said, his voice professional but firm. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave. The hat is making people uncomfortable." Elon turned to him, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. "Leave?" he asked, his tone calm but tinged with disbelief. "I'm just here to grab a coffee and maybe do some shopping." "Since when is that a problem?" Derek straightened his posture, his authority on full display. "We try to keep this place neutral. Political statements can escalate things. I'm sure you understand." For a moment, there was silence. The surrounding crowd, sensing the tension, began to gather closer. Phones were recording. Derek's words had turned a quiet moment into a public spectacle. Then Elon did something no one expected. He smiled, not a smirk or a condescending grin, but a genuine smile that seemed to light up his face. "I see where you're coming from," he said, removing the hat and holding it loosely in his hand. "But let me tell you something about assumptions." What followed wasn't a defense of his choice to wear the hat, nor was it an argument about freedom of expression. Instead, Elon began to share a story. He spoke about his upbringing, the years he spent in South Africa witnessing the divides that could tear people apart. He talked about his journey from being a bullied kid who found solace in books to becoming one of the world's most recognized innovators. And then he spoke about perception. "This hat," he said, holding it up for the crowd to see. "It's just fabric and thread, but look how much power we've given it. It's like we've forgotten to look beyond the surface. We've stopped asking why and started assuming what." The crowd was silent. Even Derek seemed taken aback. Elon's voice carried an undeniable weight, each word resonating with an audience that didn't know whether to agree or challenge him. "I wore this hat today," he continued, "because I wanted to see how people would react. Not to provoke, but to understand. And here we are, proving something I've always believed. We judge too quickly. But what if we chose curiosity over judgment?" Derek's demeanor shifted. He wasn't just a manager confronting a rule breaker anymore. He was a man grappling with his own assumptions. "I didn't think of it that way," he admitted, his voice softer now. "But you have to understand, people have strong feelings about, well, you know." Elon nodded. "And those feelings are valid. But the next step is asking, why do I feel this way? What am I missing?" The crowd murmured in agreement. A young woman stepped forward, her phone still in hand. "You're saying we need to talk more, right? Actually listen to each other?" Elon's smile widened. Exactly. We're all so quick to argue, but what if we just paused, took a moment to hear the other side? The tension in the air dissipated, replaced by a sense of unity. People began sharing their own thoughts and stories, a spontaneous conversation sparked by what had started as a confrontation. Derek, now standing beside Elon, found himself joining in. For the next hour, the mall atrium transformed into an open forum. Strangers connected, debates unfolded respectfully, and perspectives shifted. By the end, no one seemed to care about the hat anymore. It had become a symbol of something far more significant: the power of dialogue. When Elon finally left, coffee in hand and hat tucked away, the crowd erupted in applause. Derek, still processing the whirlwind event, watched him go with a newfound respect. "Guess I owe him an apology," he muttered, half to himself. That day left an indelible mark on everyone who witnessed it. Videos of the encounter went viral, sparking conversations far beyond the mall. Some praised Elon for his approach. Others criticized him for his choice of statement. But one thing was undeniable: the event had made people think. In the weeks that followed, Derek noticed something different about the mall. It wasn't just the usual chatter or foot traffic. There was an openness, a willingness to engage that hadn't been there before. People seemed less guarded, more curious. And while he couldn't pinpoint exactly when the change had begun, Derek had a feeling it had something to do with a man in a red hat who turned assumptions into an opportunity for connection.